months coming forth because there's a tendency I may move. He said, don't worry, when that time comes, we'll get to it. But he didn't get to that time, and I moved. And he got upset. I was like, he actually gave the lawyer money. I found out like 3 years after I'd moved that the lawyer was paid money to fabricate something that I was owing rent. I was doing this. I never owe rent. I always plan ahead. That was doing this. It was my neighbor that stayed downstairs and said, the lawyer chopped the money and ran. So while they were discussing his own case, they said, what happened to Dr. Felix will happen to me. If you give money to any lawyer, he will still chop your money and run. I was asking, I said, Okubo, what happened to Dr. Felix? Before I mentioned, I didn't tell you. That time you moved, our landlord actually paid a lawyer to come after you because he felt bad. There are certain times you make some decisions that will not be convenient or doesn't seem pleasing to people, but it's for you to sit down, reflect, and focus. Do you understand? So another thing too, avoid bad debts. No matter the amount of calls or texts you get from OP, don't borrow from them. Say amen. Let me tell you why. They make a lot of money from that. But people just feel like, they are giving me opportunity to borrow money. Let me borrow. You don't know they are trying to build your economy to become a credit-based. They are trying to build it to be like UK or US. God forbid. Tell your neighbor, God forbid. In Nigeria, when you own a house, you own it outrightly. In the US, when you own a house, you don't own it outrightly. You can pay for the house for 40 years and still lose it because you mix 3 months payments. And that's the system they're adopting with. But they're trying to bring the same thing to Nigeria. So avoid bad debts. He pays tax in a different way. Do you know that? Let me explain. Do you know Dangote builds roads now? Do you know that? He builds roads and tell you that he wants to do express road. It's not for free. He will build the road maybe like, okay, let me not use Dangote. A man builds a road for 50 million and tells you he spent 100 million building the road. And there's a rule in Nigerian government regarding tax that because you built a federal road, we'll deduct that as your tax. So the government now takes away 100 million tax from what he's supposed to pay for the coming year. Is that not wisdom? Because he has attained a certain level of integrity. Do you understand? There are certain principles that the operator that would like to do. Next thing, develop your skill. I'm trying to rush everything down. I want to just mention at least 10. I had a friend in, I think 2013, he was into selling of recharge cards. And I told him, I said, Joel, you sell recharge cards and he was making a lot of money. In his house, he was like the highest earner. So it was getting to his shoulder. In fact, I have big tummy, but his own started growing bigger than mine. I said, Joel, your belly is getting bigger than mine. Be careful. We just laughed about it. But I called him aside because he's pretty younger. I said, I want to give you an advice. This is your business, like most other businesses, are businesses that have what you call expansibility factor. You can grow the business. Think about bigger parts of your business, like printing the recharge cards directly. Say, I be Airtel. I said, no, because when I was in school then, there's something we used to do. We had an arrangement with Econet. So Econet gave us, I had a business called Meganet then. Econet gave us an opportunity, something like, I won't call it an app, but we could generate numbers and forward to them. When we generate the numbers and forward to them, they authenticate the numbers and we sell. But they give us a range. You cannot sell beyond this. So for the numbers we generate, if the car is supposed to be 200 and we pay them for like 150, the extra 50 is supposed to be ours. So I told him this story. I said, make sure you do this because every business is moving forward. If you don't move forward to the tide, you'll be washed off. He didn't take my advice. He was spending lavishly. And now, how many of you have bought recharge card outside for a while? Most times you recharge from your phones. Who knows about Nokia? Nokia was one of the biggest phone companies in the 2000s or since the 80s. What happened to them? Mind you, they had the greatest business minds. But when I remember the CEO was talking in tears when when Microsoft was actually buying out Nokia. He said, we did everything possible and we did nothing wrong, but yes, we lost. Do you know why? Because they did not develop their skills. They did not flow with time. They had offers that people presented to them, but they turned it down because they said, this is our own niche. This is what we are supposed to do. The same thing almost happened to IBM and Bill Gates. It's a different story. My point is, if you're in any business or anything, you do not just say, I'm a tailor. Stay in that four corner of your walls and start just sewing clothes. What's the difference between you and Balenciaga? You draw, they draw. You sew, they sew. You display, they display. It's just that you display on your WhatsApp status only. Spread. There are some gifts that you have that no other person on earth has. So you are depriving the world of your talents. So I'm going to advise everybody to develop your skills. Like, if you're going to be relating with international people, there are some things you will learn. I was privileged to know that if you are dealing with certain classes of people, your attitude matters. Like if you're dealing with an Iranian, someone from Iran, be ready to sit down and discuss tea. If you're discussing with an American, you should be able to talk fast and give him reasons why he should listen to you in 3 minutes. On the go. If you're talking with an Italian, talk about family. They don't separate family from business. I learned that while I was in the UK, while I was trying to deal with some Italians. I had to tell a lie. Jürgen, how's everything doing? Jürgen is a German guy. As in, I try to relate to him. There's a common site where you read about CEOs. So I'll go through that site. I'll read about this man, see everything. Okay, he likes his daughter very well. Okay, very good. So I called him. Mind you, this is the first conversation we're having on the phone. I was trying to pitch something to him. I said, Jürgen, what do you think about this project? I was trying to do this. He said, sorry to say, I lied then. I acted like I had a daughter. And the daughter was being intrusive on my business. Immediately, I said, you have a daughter too? We connected. The annoying part that shocked a lot of people from my team then is he signed up over the phone. He said, please, Felix, fax me the details. Fax me the paperwork. He signed, and he paid. Everything happened in less than 45 minutes because I connected to him. You can't use the same strategy with an Italian. They're a little bit more crooked. Especially the Spanish, they're a little bit more crooked. When you are going to do something, or let's say the Chinese man, if the Chinese man is talking to you, and let's say you are telling him that, so there's a reason why jollof rice is better than chow mein, and he keeps quiet. Don't say, do you know what I'm saying? No, leave him. Let him think. They are processing what you are saying. Don't interrupt him. Allow that silence. Don't block the silence. Allow that silence take its place. He's actually deciding whether to go with you. Do you understand? So you need to understand your own business and your skill. In medicine, there are skills. I was in a clinic one time to see a friend of mine, a colleague, senior doctor. And there was this man that walked in with flatulence issues. When I mean flatulence, he's unable to fart. He's unable to pollute. Enough in mess. Sorry. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that pain is even more painful than appendicitis. If you've ever had it, the pain is so excruciating that you feel like it's so difficult. And the guy was like, and the doctor knowing fully well, you want to give me? Okay. The doctor knowing fully well that if he's honest, he will not make as much money. That's the reason why I've not set up my clinic the way I want to set it. Because I'm not as money hungry as many people. So they told the guy, Baba, you don't think now. You don't come hospital since. You're supposed to have done checkup. This thing go blow. The man got scared. The wife said, hey, Jesus. When the panic is there, the doctor like, sold. So we actually need to do surgery. Then he had to pay like 700,000 naira for the surgery. And I was just boiling on my seat. One is not my clinic. I didn't come here for professional service. I came to visit. But my conscience could not take it. So they told the man to go. Say, okay, the wife, they said they were going to go. They're going to arrange the money. Mind you, these are not people that walked in with Mercedes-Benz. They look like the regular people. And one thing about medicine is, whether you are rich or poor, you pay the same fee. So if you walk into the hospital, how many of you walk into a pharmacy and you ask, how much is paracetamol? They say 2,000. You say, you're not going to say 150. Nobody prices medicine. Do you understand? And if I tell you the turnout in a pharmacy, I know someone that's making close to 2 million on a daily basis. On a daily basis. Most of the medication you buy for 2,000 are really sold for 150 naira. But nobody wants to price their health. If I come and tell you, I say, okay, well, this is ciprofloxacin. This is the original one. I'll give you this one for 65,000. But this one, it will work. Not that it won't work, sha. This one is 14,000. And you now tell me, I will take the 65,000 naira one. Nobody ever goes for the lower one because nobody wants to die. Do you understand? So it's a similar technique. So when they told the man that thing, I was not convinced. I just got up and said, I want to use the restroom. I went to the man and I said, you know what you do? Get to the house. Get onion. I just gave him, okay, let me not say the details of what I told him. Just take this. Something that would not even cost him 500 naira. Take it. Try and use the bathroom. And after a while, he didn't come back to the hospital. So my friend was wondering, he said, it's like that guy. He didn't come back. That guy didn't come back. I said, really? Yeah, okay, no problem. Because I know if he did exactly what I say he should do, he will flatulate. And if he flatulates, the pain will ease. Do you understand? So every business has a strategy. So find the strategy in your business and take advantage of it. I'm going to use One of our entertainers, for example, someone like AY. AY made a lot of money at the time during his business. It's not like, to him personally, he's not funny, but he knows the business of comedy. So he got people that were funny into the business and he started benefiting from it. That's strategy. Davido knows the business of music. He may not be the best singer, but he knows how to carry his music that you will start feeling it. I don't know if you can try to say. So don't just be represented by your craft. Let it stand out. Know the business of it. There's one thing to be a seamstress, a tailor. There's another thing to be a designer, do it as a business and make money from it. And the only way you can find that is if you study, if you go and learn more. I talked about developing your skills. Now we're going to talk about building multiple streams of income. I'm trying to rush them. I'm almost done. Hope I still have up to 5 minutes. I'm done. Okay, let me just summarize. Build multiple streams of income. Have multiple things you are doing. I'm a doctor, but there are many things I put my hands in. If I tell you I make more money from other things than I do in medicine, a lot of you will argue. If you have, especially in our kind of economy, if you have a lot of things you are putting your hands in, different sectors, so even if one is not failing too well, the others will be able to sustain. If you ask a good business guru or a financial manager at the bank, what's the best thing to do? The one thing everybody will tell you is retail. You know why? Retail buys everything and doesn't produce nothing. So even if rice is going down, beans is coming up, you leave rice and you focus on beans, your sales is not affected. You just tell your customer, we not get rice. And everybody keeps selling. Do you understand what I'm saying? Think long term. I mentioned that using the example of somebody traveling from here to Benin. Don't think short. Don't take short breaks, even if you want to celebrate yourself. Then any money you make is supposed to be protected, multiplied, and passed on. I'm privileged to, I will applaud my dad because he did a good job. Do you understand? Not that he made the money for himself alone, but after he passed, we're still able to partake in it. So my plan today is that my kids growing up, I started teaching them some financial literacy things. Like I give them a certain amount of money. I might give him like 1,000 naira, 1,200 based on their age. Maybe I give Shanikwa 1,000, Makela 1,001, then JD maybe 1,200 or 1,500 to take to school. Not for him to spend. Have the money in your hand and bring some home. So most times they'll come back with 800 naira. I don't take it back. Put it in your piggy bank. It has taught you on some form of literacy that I have the money. I see what I want to buy. But I walked away from it. And I took it home. And I kept it. And the one that pays, that does that well, at the end of the period, I will say, okay, I want to add this to whatever you have saved. Shanuka's money now is going to up to, since this year, maybe like 80,000 naira. 80,000 naira. And that's not like I was giving every single day because she has a very strong savings mentality. I told them that, okay, the first person to save 200,000 before the end of the year, I'll open an OPay account and I'll double whatever value is there. And they are working hard. It might seem as if it's stupid, but it's training. So by the time they now have opportunity to stand on their own, they've already learned the basics. Do you understand? And quite importantly, which is the last point I'll make, resist the urge to show off. Avoid it. Resist the urge to say, I don't arrive. You arrived. You make $2 million. You're acting like you have 10 billion. There are people that have 10 million and say, I'm going to declare bankruptcy. Think big. Somebody said, one business is just an accident away from panic. 2 business is more like security. 3 business is total freedom. So if you put your hands in a lot of things, I'm not saying put your hands in bad things. Let me rephrase that statement. Invest in a lot of businesses. It must not be your craft. The fact that you are a lawyer does not mean you should be born and you should die in the courtroom. It doesn't mean you should only talk about real estate regarding court cases. Get involved in other things. You can have a retail shop. Do you understand? So if you're able to apply these little things I've mentioned, I'm running off now, sir. I can guarantee you will not fail. You will not fail. It's not possible. I'll say impossible. If you don't spend more than you are getting, you are disciplined with your finances. You invest more in assets as opposed to liabilities. Trust me. Even if you're selling pure water, you can afford to buy anything in the world. And again, please, it's not everything you can pay for that you can afford. The fact that your salary can cover it doesn't mean you can afford it. Learn to be disciplined. Look at it. This is very nice.